Hi guys, and welcome to day 5 of the 25 sessions of Christmas series brought to you by Foundation Age Coaching. Today we're going through a 1v1 full session with a particular focus on a 1v1 situation where you've got the opponent behind you rather than in front. Now, if you look at a lot of 1v1 practices that you'll see around, a lot of them begin with the player having the ball and the opponent who they're up against is in front of them, which, while this is an important skill, it doesn't necessarily replicate what always happens in the game. Majority of 1v1s will happen when you have an opponent behind you, and it will actually happen before, well, the things that the players have to consider is before they've even got the ball. And this session provides a nice progression from the first practice all the way through to a small-sided game, which will encourage these type of 1v1 situations to appear. So the first practice is a very simple 1 versus 1 game. Players are in pairs, they're all operating within the same square, and it's ultimately 1 versus 1 line ball. The practice starts with the person who's going to be defending having the ball to begin with. Their partner is standing 2 or 3 yards in front of them with their back to them and their legs wide open. The person with the ball will then kick it through their partner's legs, and as soon as it goes through, it begins with we're into the 1v1 live. The player who's then in between the ball and the defender will then try and get the ball and turn and attack the line behind them. Once again, replicating that situation where they've got an opponent behind them. And if the defender wins the ball, they're going to try and attack the line on the far side. After every turn, they switch places, so both players get the opportunity to start as the attacker, both players get the opportunity to start as the defender. We're making it... The reason why we've got everyone in the same square is because obviously in a match of football, it's not just one person, there might be other people in the way, and that little bit of interference is going to encourage players to keep their head up and look for the relevant spaces where they can get away from their opponent and hopefully score a point. You can play this for a predetermined amount of time, or you can even play for the first person to score 5, 10, 15 points, whatever points limit you set on it. We move this practice on by going into a 1v1 to target game. Players are in groups of 4, 2 players on the outside acting as the servers/targets, and 2 players in the middle playing 1 versus 1. The attacking player is looking to find a little bit of space, thinking about what happens before the 1v1 occurs. In order to get the ball, if they can, they might be able to find an opportunity to turn and face their opponent. If not, they've got to try and receive it and figure out a way to get away from them so they can pass it to the far side. Additionally, as soon as the ball is passed, the game is still live. So that would be a point to the attacking player, and then they're going to try and get it and receive it from the player they've just passed to, and then pass it back again to the opposite side. We want the players not only thinking about what they're doing before the 1v1, but also after the 1v1. So there's a thought process about not just beating the player and standing still, but beating the player and thinking, right, where can I go next to impact the play? If the defending player is able to win the ball, they pass to one of the servers, and then the game continues with them as the attacker and the other player as the defender. Again, you can play for a predetermined amount of time, or you can play for the person to score 5, 10, 15 points, whatever limit you want to put on it. Before you play, put the jokers and servers into the middle, and if you're in a position where you've got multiples of 5, multiples of 6, then you can put an additional player on the outside who they can utilise if need be. You might also want to put a condition on where they can only play 1 pass to the outside if that's the case. That's all they're allowed. Obviously, we want to try and encourage the 1v1 situation, but using a teammate as an opportunity to disguise your intention and move the opponent and then take the ball the other way is a relevant part of the game in a 1v1. So if we can bring in those teammates to create that opportunity as well as just looking to beat their opponents, then that's going to give them an extra advantage in the game. The final progression for this session is a small-sided game with goalkeepers where all the outfield players are assigned a man marker. So for the purposes of this video, 2 is against 2, 3 is against 3, 4 is against 4. And this is the only player they're allowed to tackle. Players are allowed to intercept passes, players are allowed to get in the way and block runs and dribbles and shots, but they're not allowed to steal the ball off anybody else but the person that they are marking. Once again, it's going to get players thinking about what they're doing before they receive the ball. Is there an opportunity to run in behind? Can they drop short and get the ball to feet so they can turn and face the opponent? Is the opponent marking them tightly? They're also going to have to think about what they're doing during the 1v1. And it's not just a case of using foot skills, but they've also got to think about which foot they're using. They've got to be thinking about what the opponent is doing, which way they're attacking them from, which way their weight might be leaning, as well as how to use their body to be able to master the 1v1 situation. I mean, I'm an Aston Villa supporter, and if you look at John McGinn, who has admittedly got the biggest backside in the Premier League, he does a very good job of getting low, using his low centre of gravity, sticking his bum out and holding players off that way to be able to turn. Taller players might be using their arms a little bit more on their physical strength to be able to push players away, but of course, we've got to make sure it's done within the laws of the game. If you like the video, then give us a follow for day 6. And of course, if you use this practice, please leave a comment in the section telling us how you get on with your players.